For years, Iran has stood against American pressure almost entirely on its own. Sanctions, cyber attacks, covert operations, assassinations, and military threats have become part of daily reality for Tehran. But after the recent rise in direct confrontation between the United States and Iran, one question is now being asked across the Middle East and beyond: can Iran really deter future American attacks without major support from a powerful ally like Russia? The answer may shape the future of the region. Iran already possesses one of the largest missile arsenals in the Middle East. It has drones, proxy networks, naval capabilities in the Persian Gulf, and underground military infrastructure built over decades. Yet despite all of this, the balance of power still heavily favors the United States. America operates aircraft carriers, stealth bombers, advanced intelligence systems, and military bases surrounding Iran from multiple directions. That imbalance is exactly why many analysts now believe Iran needs stronger Russian military support if it hopes to prevent future American strikes. Euronews +2. The logic is simple: deterrence only works when your enemy believes the cost of attacking you is too high. Iran can retaliate, yes. But can it truly stop Washington from launching another military operation if tensions explode again? That is where Russia enters the equation. Over the last several years, Moscow and Tehran have grown much closer. What began as tactical cooperation in Syria slowly evolved into deeper military and intelligence coordination. Russia reportedly relied on Iranian drones during the Ukraine conflict, while Iran benefited from Russian technology, intelligence sharing, and diplomatic backing. Los Angeles Times +1. Now, according to multiple reports, that relationship may be entering an entirely new phase. Western intelligence sources have claimed that Russia provided Iran with information capable of helping Tehran track American military assets in the region. That includes warships, aircraft, and strategic positions. If true, this changes everything. Euronews +1. Because modern warfare is no longer just about missiles and tanks. Information is power. Satellite intelligence, radar coverage, electronic warfare systems, and real-time targeting data can determine whether a country survives the first hours of a conflict. Iran understands this very well. During previous confrontations, Iran demonstrated that it could strike American-linked targets with surprising precision. Analysts noted that some Iranian attacks appeared more accurate than expected. That fueled speculation that outside intelligence support may already be helping Tehran improve its battlefield awareness. Reddit +1. But intelligence alone is not enough. Iran's biggest military weakness remains air defense. The United States Air Force possesses stealth aircraft like the B-2 Spirit and F-35 Lightning II, capable of penetrating heavily defended airspace. Even Iran's sophisticated missile systems could struggle against a massive American air campaign. This is why Russian systems such as the S-400 or future air defense technologies are so important to Tehran. Advanced radar networks and integrated missile defenses could dramatically increase the risk for any American operation. Suddenly, airstrikes become more expensive, more dangerous, and less predictable. And unpredictability is a powerful deterrent. Russia also brings something Iran desperately needs: strategic ambiguity. If the United States attacks Iran while Russian advisors, intelligence personnel, or military systems are actively operating inside the country, Washington risks a much larger geopolitical crisis. That alone could force American planners to think twice. Interestingly, Russia itself has been careful not to promise direct military intervention. Moscow condemned American and Israeli strikes on Iran and called them acts of aggression, but Russian officials also repeatedly urged restraint and diplomacy. PBS +3. This shows Russia's strategy very clearly. The Kremlin wants Iran strong enough to resist Western pressure, but not strong enough to drag Russia into a direct war with the United States. That balancing act explains why Russian support has remained limited and carefully controlled. Moscow benefits from keeping America distracted in the Middle East while avoiding open confrontation with Washington. At the same time, Iran benefits from even partial Russian backing because perception matters. If American officials believe Russia is sharing intelligence, helping air defenses, or coordinating military planning with Tehran, then the cost calculation changes immediately. And deterrence is all about changing calculations. Still, there are serious limits to how far Russia may actually go. Russia is already deeply involved in its own geopolitical struggles. Economic sanctions, military spending, and international isolation have placed heavy pressure on Moscow. Opening another direct front against the United States would be extremely risky. Some analysts even argue that Russia's support for Iran is more symbolic than transformational. Despite strong rhetoric, Moscow has avoided committing troops or creating a formal military alliance with Tehran. Reddit +1. That distinction matters. Iran may want the kind of protection NATO countries receive from each other, where an attack on one means a response from all. But Russia has not offered Iran anything close to that level of guarantee. Instead, the relationship looks more like strategic cooperation based on shared enemies and overlapping interests. And yet, even that may be enough to strengthen deterrence. Joint naval drills in the Sea of Oman already signal growing military coordination between the two countries. These exercises are designed not only for training but also for messaging. They tell Washington that Iran is no longer completely isolated. Al Jazeera. In geopolitics, symbols can be almost as important as weapons. Iran also understands another reality: no country can indefinitely survive constant pressure without external partnerships. Decades of sanctions and confrontation have weakened Iran's economy, limited access to advanced military technology, and increased domestic pressure. Archive. Russia provides Tehran with an economic and diplomatic lifeline as much as a military one. At the United Nations, Moscow often shields Iran from total isolation. In energy markets, both countries cooperate against Western influence. Militarily, they exchange technology, tactics, and strategic experience. The partnership is built on necessity. But there is another side to this story that many people overlook. Closer military ties between Iran and Russia could actually increase tensions rather than reduce them. Washington may interpret deeper cooperation as a growing threat that needs to be contained early. That creates a dangerous cycle. The more Iran strengthens its relationship with Russia, the more America may increase military pressure. And the more America increases pressure, the more Iran feels it needs Russian support. This cycle risks transforming regional conflicts into something much larger. Some experts even warn that the Middle East could become another arena for great power competition, similar to Cold War proxy conflicts. The United States supports one side, Russia backs another, and smaller regional states become trapped between superpowers. We are already seeing signs of that dynamic emerging. The Strait of Hormuz remains one of the world's most important energy choke points. Any conflict there affects global oil prices, shipping routes, and international markets almost instantly. Recent tensions have shown how fragile the region truly is. Reuters +1. If Russia increases military assistance to Iran, the stakes become even higher. American strategists know that fighting Iran is difficult enough. Fighting an Iran equipped with better intelligence, stronger air defenses, and possible Russian operational support becomes far more complicated. And that complication may be exactly what Tehran wants. Iran does not necessarily need to defeat the United States militarily. It only needs to convince Washington that war would be too costly, too chaotic, and too unpredictable. That is the essence of deterrence. Russia helps create that uncertainty. Whether through intelligence sharing, joint exercises, military technology, or diplomatic coordination, Moscow gives Tehran something it cannot build alone: the shadow of another major power standing nearby. But the future of this partnership remains uncertain. Russia may continue expanding cooperation if tensions with the West worsen, or it may limit involvement to avoid provoking direct confrontation with Washington. Iran, meanwhile, will continue searching for ways to secure itself against future attacks without becoming fully dependent on any foreign power. Because in the end, Iran's leaders understand a harsh reality. Alliances in geopolitics are rarely permanent. Interests change, priorities shift. Even powerful partners can disappear when costs become too high. That is why Iran continues investing heavily in its own missiles, drones, underground bases, and asymmetric warfare capabilities. Russian support may strengthen deterrence, but Tehran knows its survival can never rely entirely on Moscow. Still, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. The era when Iran stood completely alone against American military pressure may be ending. And if Russia continues moving closer to Tehran, future conflicts in the Middle East could become far more dangerous than anything the world has seen before.